Hi guys, in today's video I thought I'd keep things nice and simple, and I thought I'd give you a quick guided tour of all the different tools and products that I'm using on a regular basis. Now I want to break this down into a two-part special because for part number one we really want to be looking at some of the big major tools. For part number two we're going to be taking a more in-depth look at some of the chemicals and why I use particular types of brands. This is my air compressor. It's made by Hyundai. It's 50 litres, and I have to be honest, whilst I was being a mobile car valeter for the majority of my career, I never really saw the sense in ever owning one of these. The problem is because if you needed something that was going to work, it had to be quite big, and there is one huge drawback, and it's the weight of these things. They are ridiculously heavy. But now I'm settled down in the studio and I can do the majority of my work here where I don't always have to be going out all the time. I thought this would be a great opportunity to get one. However, I may be upgrading it to 100 litre and I wanted to go for a silent model instead. I've contacted them. Hopefully we're going to have one on the channel soon, because although this thing is amazing, it's very powerful, it is very loud, and the last thing I want to be doing is annoying all the neighbours around me, because I think I am actually doing that. So the main reason that I use the air compressor is just for drying the car off at the end. I normally just stick with drying towels. It's far quicker just to run a towel over a vehicle and then just go down all the little nooks and crannies as you finish, just to blast out any of the last remaining water. But the other reason I like to use the air compressor is because of one of these. This is the Tornador cleaning gun. Oh my word, has this changed my life. I was literally in shock because I couldn't believe how well it could transform a car's interior. The only downside is with using these types of tools, you do really need to be wearing ear defenders all the time, or you are going to get horrible ringing and you probably will damage your ears. So I use this on a wide range of surfaces. Believe it or not, there is so many more different things we could potentially use this on. I've literally barely scratched the surface myself. Absolutely love the Tornador cleaning gun. If you are a unit-based detailer, I solely recommend that you go out and get one because they really do raise the bar to the next level. If you are a mobile guy, you're not going to be able to really use one of these with any compressor smaller than a 50 litre. This is my machine polisher and this is my cat. If you love cats, you're in for a real treat. He's just not going to go anywhere. So this is a dual action polisher. It's from Hyundai. I did have a silver line rotary polisher. Unfortunately, I gave it back to my mate Reese. We tried to take the backing plate off and we snapped something, and now, yeah, I can't use it ever again. Thanks, Reese. So I actually really like this machine because I've managed to get some really good results from it. Now, it's not just the machine that's got to be good. You've got to have the right pads as well. And in the next video, we are actually going to be talking about some of the different pads that I use, but there's not really a massive amount of polishing that I do anymore. I literally do barely any machine polishing. Right, if you wanted to clean some wheels, you only need a few tools, and I'm going to run you through the main ones that I really do recommend. Everything else that I've got in the bucket, I don't need it. I really don't honestly need it. Wheel mitts, they are fantastic. If you want to get around the wheels quicker than any other tool, this is what you need. If you want to be extra delicate, get yourself some super soft detailing brushes. If you want to clean the tyres, either use a Vicam brush or a stiff tyre brush. If you wanted to get into tight areas, make sure you go for a super skinny wheel woolly. Now these are essential if you're cleaning supercars because you don't have a lot of space in between the brakes and the wheels. Now if you wanted to get something a little bit deeper and you really wanted to tackle some heavy brake dust, go for one of these. This is from Valet Pro. It looks like a Christmas tree, but my God, does it work. Now for these gigantic wheel woolies, you don't really get much use for them these days. It just depends on the wheels you're cleaning. I think the way trends are going, people are now going for these spokey, tiny gaps, which are great in appearance, but they're awful for car cleaners. So I don't really use this much anymore. But if you do use these too much, they are very delicate. This is what will happen to them. They will just crumble. And yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens when you use them. But they have been used to death nevertheless. And then last but not least, we have a caliper wheel woolly. They're good for getting behind the spokes as well, but since I've used this, I think this mainly dominates most of my wheel cleaning. They are fantastic. I will put links in the description below, along with discount codes where you can get everything that I've featured here. Right, this is my bucket, and in my bucket I have a wash mitt, a soft brush, and I have a grit guard. This grit guard folds up and it allows you to put 6 different bottles in there. And that's quite cool because if you're taking a small amount to, let's just say, a friend's house and you want to go wash their car, you can put a few products in there, put the lid on. You can even use the lid as a step. It's got handles here as well. They're nice and solid, and because they're not too high, you can stack them up and they can fit in most boots. I think this is a genius design. These are my two boys, Henry and Charles. Now, unfortunately, Henry doesn't really get out much. He just stays in the unit and he's just a backup hoover in case there's two of us working on a car. As for Charles, He is a legend. He just keeps on going. He's never had anything go wrong with him apart from when I yanked on the cable. It's affordable, it's reliable, it won't let you down, and you'll still be able to get great results nevertheless. It does the same job. You don't need to spend £500-600 on a commercial machine when you have something like this that can take care of everything. These are my 2 pressure washers that I'm using, and yes, I really do only have 2 here. The thing is, when you see these videos on the channel, most of them I just borrow anyway, and I either pass them to somebody else or I end up just giving them away for people to keep. Now the thing is with pressure washers, I've been testing these way before I even did YouTube. That was where this whole thing literally started off from, because I like testing different equipment, finding out what was good, what wasn't good, and how they could make it better. So when I'm out and about, I normally just use the Easy P57 because it's light, it's convenient, and it just makes my life easier. It's smaller, it can get into the car, and I love getting out and about because it gives me a break from the madness here. Whenever I'm in the detailing studio though, I normally like to use this one. It depends on the cars that I'm using, of course. If it's something very delicate with paint, I don't really like to go too heavy, so I do switch back to the P57. But when I have those really groggy jobs, I break out this bad boy because it's just relentless. It's an absolute animal. This little yellow thing right here is my Karcher SC3 steam cleaner. Now in a few weeks time I will be releasing a full review on this, and I'll be basically covering all the different pros and cons and what you can and can't use this on for detailing. This is my pump sprayer, and I'm not going to say anything positive about it because it sucks. It's completely broken, doesn't last 5 minutes, but none of them do. It doesn't matter whether you get it from Amazon, a garden centre, or even a professional retailer. They still all break. They don't last long at all. If you are going to get one, I would say spend a lot of money, but I spent 60 quid on one before and it still didn't last 5 minutes. So my best advice is, if you are going to get them, go cheap. Seriously, you know they're not going to last. If you can get through one a month, whatever. Because I don't know anybody who's a mobile valeter who hasn't got through 1,000,001 of these. It's just unfortunate. It's the nature of the business. The idea is there. It just doesn't really work. These are my microfiber cloths, but back in the day I wasn't really using these because they never even existed. I was relying on my Kirklands, and I was using AutoSmart and a few others, to name a few. Now the thing is, with all these different towels, I was always chopping and changing and trying to find which was best for me. But the thing is, whenever you're in this industry, you're always trying to find something better, the next best thing. So even if you find products that you love, there's always going to be that urge to go out there and try something else. You never really get set on the same products and the same routines forever. And this is the beauty about the industry. It's constantly evolving. I also have these Tornadors and the Arva Premium foam cannon, which I recently featured on the channel already, and I will put discount codes below with the links in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up.